In the quiet farming community of Hinterkaifeck, Germany, a dreadful discovery would be made that would send shockwaves across the world. On a typical day in late March, the tranquility of this rural idyll was shattered. 6 souls, each a member of the same family or closely tied to it, were found brutally murdered on the Gruber's farm. The victims were Andreas Gruber, his wife Cecilia, their widowed daughter Victoria Gabriel, and Victoria's 2 children, Cecilia and Joseph, along with the newly hired maid, Maria Baumgartner. Each met an untimely and horrific end, their lives extinguished in a manner as gruesome as it was baffling. The discovery of the bodies sent a chill down the spines of the community, rippling out to the far corners of Germany and beyond. The nature of the crime was so brutal, so savage, that it defied comprehension. The victims were not merely killed, they were butchered, the brutality of their deaths a stark contrast to the serene setting of their farmstead. Andreas Gruber, the patriarch, was a man known for his stern demeanor. His wife, Cecilia, was a woman of strength and resilience. Their daughter, Victoria, was a widow, her husband lost to the horrors of the First World War. Her children, Cecilia and Joseph, were but innocent lambs caught in this storm of violence. And Maria Baumgartner, the maid who had just begun her service at the farm, was an unfortunate soul caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Each of these lives, unique and irreplaceable, were snuffed out within the confines of their own home, a place that should have offered safety and solace. The nature of their deaths, the sheer brutality of it, was a shocking contrast to the simple, hard-working lives they led. The scene that lay before the investigators was one of inexplicable horror, a chilling tableau of death and silence. The tranquility of Hinterkaifeck was shattered, but the terror had begun to creep in long before the murders. In the weeks leading up to the horrific event, the Gruber family had been disturbed by a series of unsettling incidents. One of these was the discovery of unfamiliar footprints in the snow, leading from the forest edge to their farmhouse. These footprints had no corresponding sets leading back out, implying that someone had entered their home but never left. The mystery deepened when, despite a thorough search, no signs of forced entry or presence of an intruder were found. But the footprints weren't the only strange occurrence. An unfamiliar newspaper was found on the Gruber family's property. No one in the family claimed to have bought it, and it wasn't a local publication. The origin of the paper remained an enigma, adding another layer of unease to the already tense atmosphere. Then there were the missing keys. The Grubers reported that the keys to their home had inexplicably gone missing days before the murders. Despite their best efforts to locate them, the keys were never found. An ominous sign of what was to come, perhaps? Finally, the family had been plagued by strange noises coming from the attic. At first, they dismissed it as the house settling, or perhaps the wind. But as the sounds continued, they could no longer ignore the unsettling possibility that they were not alone. As these events unfolded, an eerie sense of dread seeped into the Gruber household. The family had been living under an ominous shadow, their daily lives punctuated by these unexplainable phenomena. Yet they had no idea that these were not mere coincidences, but harbingers of a grim fate. The family had been living under an ominous shadow, unaware that their end was drawing near. As night fell on March 31st, 1922, an unseen menace lurked in the shadows of Hinterkaifeck. The darkness shrouding the remote farm seemed to grow denser, heavier, with a foreboding silence that echoed through the night. The Gruber family, oblivious to the impending doom, went about their usual routine, unaware that their lives were about to be snuffed out in the most gruesome way. The forensic evidence paints a chilling picture of the fateful night. Expert theories suggest that the murderer struck methodically. He began in the barn, where one by one, Andreas Gruber, his wife Cecilia, their widowed daughter Victoria, and her daughter, also named Cecilia, were lured and brutally slain with a mattock, an agricultural tool akin to a pickaxe. The younger children, 2-year-old Joseph and the maid Maria Baumgartner, were murdered in their beds inside the house. The killer's cold-blooded meticulousness is evident in the fact that he carried out the murders without waking the others, indicating a chilling level of control and precision. But the horror didn't end there. The murderer didn't flee the scene immediately. Instead, he lingered, living on the farm for several days after the massacre. Evidence suggests that he fed the cattle, ate meals, and even lit the fire in the hearth, all while surrounded by the lifeless bodies of the family he had just extinguished. This lingering presence, this calculated patience, adds another layer of macabre fascination to the Hinterkaifeck murders. It shows that the killer wasn't driven by panic or haste. Instead, he seemed to relish the aftermath of his gruesome deeds, completely at ease in the house of death he had created. The mystery deepens as we delve further into the night of the murders, a night that transformed a peaceful farm into a gruesome tableau of death. The murderer's motivations, his identity, and his chillingly calm demeanor after the murders continue to baffle experts and enthusiasts alike. In the dead of night, Hinterkaifeck had become a house of horrors. With the dawn came the detectives, their faces etched with grim determination. The Hinterkaifeck homestead, now a crime scene, buzzed with activity as investigators began to piece together the horrifying puzzle. The investigation that followed the grim discovery was as intriguing as it was perplexing. The crime scene, to say the least, was mishandled. Officers from the Munich Police Department arrived well after the bodies were discovered, giving ample time for potential evidence to be contaminated. The household was not cordoned off immediately, and the bodies were moved before forensic examination. This lack of procedural rigor made the task of identifying a culprit even more challenging. As the investigation progressed, numerous suspects came into the picture. One of the most notable was Lorenz Schlittenbauer, a neighbor and rumored lover of Victoria, one of the victims. His sudden inheritance after the murders raised eyebrows, but he had an alibi for the night of the crime. He was not the only one under suspicion, though. The list of suspects stretched far and wide, encompassing everyone from vagrants to the victim's own family members. In the absence of concrete evidence, theories began to flourish. Some pointed to a robbery gone wrong, while others suggested a more sinister familial motive. The latter theory was supported by the fact that the murder weapon, a mattock, belonged to the family and was left at the scene. The absence of signs of forced entry seemed to suggest that the killer was someone familiar to the family. However, each theory seemed to raise more questions than it answered. If it was a robbery, why were valuable items left untouched? If the motive was familial, why were there no signs of conflict prior to the murders? Despite their best efforts, the jigsaw puzzle of Hinterkaifeck refused to come together. The case, riddled with inconsistencies and shrouded in mystery, remains one of the most baffling unsolved crimes in history. The chilling tale of Hinterkaifeck continues to haunt us, a grim reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind even the most ordinary of doors. Almost a century has passed since the Hinterkaifeck murders, yet the mystery remains as elusive as ever. The unsolved nature of this case has cemented its place in the annals of true crime history, leaving an indelible mark that continues to fascinate and confound to this day. The Hinterkaifeck murders have become more than just a cold case. They've evolved into a cultural phenomenon, a chilling tale that has woven its way into the fabric of popular culture. The enduring fascination is testament to the human fascination with the unexplained and the unsolved. It's a story that taps into our deepest fears and our most primal curiosities. A story that, despite its age, hasn't lost its power to unsettle and intrigue. The continued speculation surrounding the case is a testament to its enduring allure. Countless theories have been proposed and debunked, each more tantalizing and perplexing than the last. The lack of a definitive answer has only served to fan the flames of speculation, making Hinterkaifeck a topic of heated discussion in true crime forums, podcasts, and documentaries worldwide. The legacy of the Hinterkaifeck murders extends beyond the realm of true crime. It has seeped into literature, film, and even music, serving as a grim muse for creators seeking to explore the darker corners of human experience. The haunting tale has inspired a multitude of works, from crime novels to horror films, each retelling adding another layer to the enigma that is Hinterkaifeck. The tale of Hinterkaifeck is a chilling reminder of the unsolved mysteries that lurk in the shadows of our world. It's a testament to the enduring power of a good mystery and the human desire to make sense of the senseless. In the end, Hinterkaifeck remains a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most peaceful places.